It is February 14th, 2018. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and this is the Wrestling Inc. podcast, talking SmackDown Live and a little mixed match challenge today. With me, as always, Mr. Raj Giri from Wrestling Inc. And Raj, we have a special guest today.
Yeah, we'd like to introduce Ashlee White. Ashlee, how are you?
Hey guys, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on the show. So Ashlee is a huge WWE fan, self-proclaimed Paul Heyman girl, TV personality from Bravo's Princesses of Long Island, and she is also part of the Lupus Research Alliance Young Leaders Board, as well as the American Heart Association, and on the committee for the Heart and Stroke Ball. Ashlee, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And I just have to point out, I am wearing my Paul Heyman girl t-shirt.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Nice. So we're going to talk about SmackDown Live today. Ashlee, which brand do you prefer in the WWE? So you're a WWE super fan. Each week, do you find yourself looking forward to Monday or Tuesday more?
I'll have to say Monday night. However, I love the women's roster on Tuesday.
It's fantastic. I mean, you've got Becky, you've got Charlotte, you've got Naomi, you've got the Riot Squad, Carmella, Natalya, Tamina, Lana. It's funny. I don't know, Raj. By the way, Raj, year and a half of doing this podcast, Raj finally follows me on Twitter last night. So on Twitter last night.
I realized Barack Obama's following you. I guess he follows a bunch of people. But,
he follows a bunch of people, yes.
He doesn't follow me.
I know, me neither. Come on,
yeah.
man.
But last night I was getting into it on Twitter because once again on SmackDown, one women's segment, and what do they announce for next week? A 6-woman tag match, which we were talking about this. It's got to be 80% of matches on SmackDown Live involving the women have had 4 or more women in the same segment. So Ashlee, let me ask you this as a fan, does it frustrate you when you see Monday Night Raw this week, 3 women's segments, last week, 5 women's segments, and on SmackDown, it's all the women on TV at the same time, no individual storylines?
Yes, I was actually hoping you brought that up, or I was going to bring that up. Last night, there was one match, and they were all together. However, if they're going to do it, I was happy it was Charlotte. But it's very frustrating. You know, you're having this big movement. You know, we went from divas to now we're having an elimination chamber match. Like, there should not be just one match. There should not be all the women like having that one match and then no more matches. Like, that should not be anymore.
I agree. They wouldn't throw Ronda Rousey in with, 5 other women in a segment, and I think, or Brock Lesnar. I think Charlotte, Flair, a lot of these women, Naomi, they're super talented. They should have their own individual storylines. And I wish they'd start doing that more on SmackDown. You're starting to see that more on Raw. I think the Bayley Sasha Banks match was awesome on Raw this past Monday night, and doing more things like that, I think will really make this women's revolution feel even that much more special.
You're right. It's right now, it's about respect. There's a respect factor.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of the problem is that they clearly see Charlotte as a star on SmackDown, but it's so built around her that Naomi and Becky are treated like Charlotte's backing band, just there in her corner last night. And I was looking online. I mean, so Road Dogg, he's a producer on SmackDown Live. He's gotten a lot of credit, or I guess shared credit with, what's his face?
Ryan Ward.
Shared credit for SmackDown and the reemergence of it since the brand split. And if you look at SmackDown truly being the land of opportunity, not just something that they say, I mean, Alexa went from an NXT also ran to a superstar, a champion on SmackDown Live. Naomi went from a former Funkadactyl to a women's champion on SmackDown Live. They've built up women on that show consistently. And since Charlotte's come over, it was Charlotte and Friends versus the Welcoming Committee. Now it's Charlotte and Friends versus the Riot Squad. I think they perceive Carmella as having a storyline with Money in the Bank, even though we only check in with her periodically. And I loved her almost cash in a few weeks ago. But it's crazy to me that you know, they're not walking their own talk about this women's revolution or women's evolution. If it's just, okay, Raj, I mean, you said it best, man. It's just like the situation was in the Divas era. They're just getting longer matches.
Yeah, I just feel like they're not getting the individualized storylines and the big storylines that, and they know how to do it. They'll be doing it for Ronda. So it's clear they know how to do it. Yeah, I just wish they would focus more on the storylines, the feuds, and the characters. Because and I think they're doing it better on Raw. I feel like Charlotte has actually fallen down a few steps since she moved from Raw to SmackDown. I felt like she was a bigger star on Raw. Her and Sasha had that great feud. You know, they headlined the pay-per-view. And now she's just kind of thrown in with everyone else every week. So but yeah, let's get into the rest of the show, and we'll get back to that when that comes up.
And that's part of it. So I say this as the biggest Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens mark on earth, but last night was too much Sami and Kevin. Like, they've overtaken the show, and not in the best way. So it was supposed to open last night with Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin. But lo and behold, Dolph Ziggler comes out to the ring, and then Sami and Kevin are beating down Baron backstage, setting up matches for later in the night where Kevin and Sami would face them individually. If they each won their match, Dolph and Baron, they would go on to be added to what is now a fatal 5-way at Fastlane.
So Ashlee, I know we talked a little about the show. You're a big Dolph Ziggler fan.
Yes.
With the way he left and the way he came back, the storyline, what'd you think of that?
Well, to be honest, I mean, with the start of the show last night, I really liked it. I thought it was so unexpected that, we thought we were going to get this match, and we were hoping for, and then this twist came along, and it showed Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a completely different light. So I was really, I enjoyed that part of it. And I liked that we got to see, Ziggler at first talking, seeing more of his passion, and then him fight later in the night. But we saw, I felt like the show gave him, really showcased his passion for it, why he came back.
Yeah, my issue with, I guess I've been watching this for too long too, but my issue with this segment is once they did the attack, and I tweeted this out, I knew exactly where it's going. Both guys are going to be added to the Fastlane main event, and they just kind of did the same storyline on Raw, where you had this controversial thing where two guys get added to the main event match. And I'm not against both men being added in for sure, but just the way they did it just seemed too similar to what they did on Raw for me. But
I understand. I could totally see that. And it's funny because I'm the type of fan who, it's so great because my perspective also comes from I get so excited, did they go off script? I just love it. I get so excited and so into it. So, as much as it could have happened on Raw, I still get that, so excited to see it again on SmackDown. But I love when other people have that opinion, that it's no, it was so easy that I didn't appreciate.
And I like them giving Dolph some perspective and character with it. Man, it's tough though. I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast a lot, but I mean, the match he did, career versus title with The Miz a year and a half ago, was so good. And that run was up until the point where he got the championship. I thought the moment he got the championship was so good. With this, I don't know. I don't know how much I like this pivot back to giving him some earnestness as a character, given him dropping the title. I mean, seeing him again after 7 weeks, granted, he was at the Royal Rumble. He has been doing house shows. I saw him put on a fantastic live event match against Nakamura Saturday in Sacramento. I think him coming back and doing this with Corbin, with Ziggler, I certainly buy him in the main event. I just don't perceive him as potentially winning this and us getting Ziggler versus Nakamura at WrestleMania.
You mean AJ?
I don't see Dolph winning this over AJ. And then having Dolph going on to face.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, right. Gotcha.
I just don't see that happening. And to your point, Raj, about how great is it sometimes when we have the champ off TV, I like that we didn't see AJ last night. I thought it was better keeping him off TV for a week rather than shoehorning in an awkward promo.
I loved that.
Yeah, I think when you have him on and just doing a quick backstage segment, it kind of lessens it, as opposed to you keep him off completely, makes it that much more special when he's on there.
I love that special factor to it.
Yeah. And so that does bring us to the women's match after the beatdowns, after Daniel Bryan and Shane backstage. Do you think they were actually in Bakersfield last night, or do you think with Shane and Daniel, they just taped that from some remote location? It like seems kind of weird that they, but it doesn't seem weird that they traveled just to do that 90-second segment, and Daniel didn't even say anything. He just stood there, looked defeated. And looked
at that all the time, though. How many wrestlers are flown in each week and aren't used on TV?
That's true.
I mean, most of the cruiserweights are flown into Raw every week and not used.
That is true, but I don't feel that. I agree, Glenn, with you that they were not there. Not for Shane and Daniel Bryan, that they're not flown in all the time.
Yeah. It does seem a little convenient how they put those segments.
But also the one thing that we've learned is that they rewrite these shows on the fly, and so that would require a week's worth of planning if they shot it last week.
That's true.
And if they didn't do that, they're not going to fly Daniel Bryan and Shane somewhere else to shoot this segment. So it's either they filmed it last week and they had planned it, which I mean, we kind of saw where this was going, so it's definitely possible.
Yeah. So Sarah Logan versus Charlotte Flair, we talked about this. So they come out, they're going to have a one-on-one match, but oh no, the Riot Squad is there. And then you think the Riot Squad's going to beat down Charlotte. So Charlotte brings her back up. I tweeted this, for the casual viewer tuning in, this looked like Gem and the Holograms versus the Misfits, very colorful women versus very punk looking women, which is good. But afterwards to have Charlotte be like, oh, one more to go. Next week I'm facing Ruby. Man, it's just the same thing, the same segment again and again and again.
I think there's a way you could do it. And like, if you made that a bigger deal that she's going to go through the Riot Squad one by one, like cut a big promo one by one and have more lead into these matches and video promos and things like that. So it makes each of these matches seem special and have something at the end. Like what does she get by beating Ruby Riott? Is it just revenge for an attack, or is it something more than that? Make it more personal, and then it's something, as opposed to you forget about it as soon as it's over.
I was going to say, actually, Raj, it kind of goes back to what you said, that when Charlotte came over to SmackDown, she kind of lost some momentum. She hasn't really had that much. So I agree with you. They need to give her a reason. Last night's match, I feel like for her was the most she's had in like a little while.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember. And this could be just how it's booked, that the matches have been forgetful with not putting much importance to them. But I can't remember the last singles match Charlotte's had in a while on SmackDown.
That's what I can't remember. And I really remember Charlotte's match. They're always like, I shouldn't say always, because recently, I mean, she needs to be booked in a better direction.
Yeah, Natalya, I think, was the last singles match she had.
When was that?
It was a while ago, probably before 2018.
And she's the women's champ, so.
Yeah. And Ruby, look, man, two or 3 weeks ago, that promo Ruby cut, I thought was really good, giving us a sense of her character and what she's about. If they're building up to Ruby versus Charlotte, why hasn't Ruby, have her tear through Lana and Carmella and then build up to Natalya, have Ruby get those victories to then go on and face Charlotte, have it mean something, build her up a bit more. I feel like they got to do something, and this isn't about, I wish they'd push Becky or Naomi, but look, give us a B women's storyline and just rotate that every other week. Like we said with SmackDown, it's great, actually, that you don't see the same people on TV each week. I mean, God, on Raw, wouldn't it be great if the Bar just sat 1 week out and we didn't see Sheamus and Cesaro for just 1 week out of the month? Absence makes the heart grow fonder and whatnot. So I think they should have a rotating be women's segment where we can see these familiar faces, but at the same time, keep a storyline going.
And I think they should split up the Riot Squad. They just don't mesh. Their personalities, I think, are just too different and it can, you could have those cases where the personalities are different, but you have that chemistry. I just don't feel like they have that chemistry. It's just feels like they're thrown together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're a bizarro world absolution. It's
a great way to put it.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, it's frustrating. So, okay, we got the first of the Fastlane qualifying matches, Kevin Owens versus Baron Corbin. So, Ashlee, what did you think of this match?
Baron Corbin versus Kevin Owens. I thought it was really good. I thought Baron Corbin did really well. I'm a Baron Corbin fan. I like him. Yeah, I thought I didn't think anything was so standout. I mean, to me, there wasn't anything, there was a couple moves where, were great. Nothing was so, when they went off, out of the ring and he was, Kevin Owens went for his ribs, that was a big move. But I just wasn't so impressed. There was really nothing I thought was so great.
Yeah, I think by design they didn't keep this match too long because it is heel versus heel, and a lot of times when you got two bad guys, the crowd doesn't know how to react, and you kind of get a quiet crowd. So, so I felt like that's probably why they didn't do too much. It's like what Ashlee said. It was just kind of there, but it was. I mean, it moved the story along.
I feel like if it was longer, maybe they could have formed more chemistry, but I think you made a really good point about the heel on heel, that people don't know how to connect and don't know what to do with it.
Corbin got a good crowd reaction last night. I mean, it's been getting better and better. It's interesting seeing at a live event over the weekend to see his reception. I think his confidence level and his swagger, as it were, has just rose so considerably. I mean, I remember seeing him at NXT live events when he would come out and it would be kind of tentative, but now, I mean, the crowd could just tell. I was actually brought people with me, and I'll talk about this later in the show. I purposely brought people with me to this live event who never watched WWE programming before to sort of get their take on things. And they were saying with him, it's like you could just sort of tell he's that old fashioned bruiser in the way he carries himself. He comes out, he doesn't need to say anything. And I think it's working with Corbin. It's getting there. I think this is a huge step up for him to be in this main event at Fastlane. I mean, his stock keeps rising in the WWE, and he keeps getting better opportunities. I'm just curious what their long-term plan is for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised that it was so clean. You had Corbin avoiding the pop-up powerbomb, hitting the end of days, and that was it. Considering Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been in the main event picture for so long, I don't know. I just thought there'd be something like maybe Shane coming out to distract Owens, because that is part of the storyline, right? That he's not happy with Daniel Bryan showing favoritism, so he kind of does the opposite to kind of get back at him a little bit. So I was a little surprised it was so clean, but it was what it was.
So this segment last night, the U.S. Open Challenge, Bobby Roode keeping it going. Out comes Randy Orton. We think we're going to get a match. This Orton kid finally getting an opportunity. But oh no, Jinder Mahal says otherwise. I'm thinking this is building towards a triple threat at Fastlane for the U.S. title. But what did you think of this segment, Ashlee?
I was so disappointed. I thought this had real potential to become a title match. And it turned into a talk segment.
Yeah.
Jerry Springer, if you want to say it. I thought it was boring. I couldn't really connect. And I thought, you know what? Even if this wanted to turn into a talk segment with the top 10, maybe it had a little potential, but with Randy Orton not connecting to it and not caring, how is the audience going to care? There was very little importance. Like, I would have really liked to see something else. Personally, I don't think they can pick up from there. Like, drop it and let's move on.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to mention the U.S. title open challenge, then actually do it first a couple weeks so that you can build it as a thing before you already start doing the bait and switch. And to do it right off the bat, I thought was kind of weak. But that being said, it's clearly building to a triple threat with Orton and Jinder Mahal. I'm at Fastlane, which is what, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Sooner than you think, because February being a short month, it is actually 2 weeks. Or pardon me. So Elimination Chamber is on
a week from Sunday.
Okay, so the 25th. Fastlane's the 11th. Is that right? March 11th?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 weeks. 2 weeks after.
Okay. So they got to start getting their matches in place. I think, it's something. All these three guys look like they should be in the main event. And, they're kind of lacking that something that's keeping them in there right now.
I was hoping I could connect more with Bobby Roode. Like, I wanted this US challenge to be something. And I didn't like the way it went, but what I really did like was the RKO out of nowhere. There was so much talk about it. And then when Randy Orton just did it, it was like, I was just waiting and waiting. And then he just hit it. And I was like, I wanted him to do RKO all around, but at least he got one in.
Yeah.
At least he got one in, but I would have loved all around. That would have been great.
Yeah, they've been doing those really cool lately because the camera work has been great where you do not see it coming at all. When he did it to Bobby Roode last week, or there was one recently to Nakamura, it was just really out of the blue. So those have been great. This top 10 thing is so silly.
Absurd. So absurd.
And then, you notice it's all baby faces. There's no heels on that top 10 list.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people are saying, well, people, it's supposed to be voted on the peers, or they wouldn't be voting for heels. But it's like, well, the heels wouldn't be voting for the baby faces then, if that's the logic you're using. Anyway, the top 10 thing makes no sense. They haven't used it at all. The fact that Orton's number 9, and I don't know. Well, Kevin Owens and Sami aren't even on it, and they're in the main event of the next page. And Baron Corbin. So 3 of the people in the Fatal 5 aren't in the top 10.
They're not just in the main event. They're like 50% of SmackDown. They're the biggest storyline on SmackDown since Hell in a Cell. I mean, so much so that it's like I said, it's too much.
They need to mix it up a little more.
Yeah. But let me say this about the segment last night. You got Bobby Roode, who's almost with that speech kind of was embracing the face turn in the best way possible. It's still an awkward fit. You've got Randy, Ashlee, as you said. I don't think Randy Orton has really cared in years. That's just sort of the vibe he gives off. Make that his character. They're collecting a check. And then you got a talking segment with Jinder Mahal doing the majority of the talking. Yeah, this was my breaking point last night. I got to be honest. Like, this was the point where I was just like, really? This is what you chose to put on TV? Because if it's Randy and Bobby, that's elevating Bobby a bit. It's giving him the experience of working with Randy, but to put Jinder in there, that negates it.
But maybe they're building to Bobby and Orton for WrestleMania. And so that way you don't want to do the singles match yet. You have Roode pin Jinder because, Jinder was the last one standing. Who knows how they'll play it out over the next few weeks, but you would think that would mean that Jinder is going to be taking the pin in this, in their match.
Yeah.
But, I'll say I wasn't bored during this segment. I thought it was fine, for a temporary thing for the US title, with who they got, it's probably the best option.
I was bored.
Yeah. I was bored, and I just felt like this was more of the same. It's like when you just see the same people again and again in the same segment.
Who else do you have?
I mean, what was Mojo at catering? I mean,
Mojo would be worse.
Yeah. Let Mojo. I'd rather hear Mojo talk than Jinder talk at this point, because at least I don't know what I'm going to get. With Jinder, it's the same promo, and I like Jinder. I think his physique is very impressive. I think he's definitely transformed himself and done some good work, but it's just something about his cadence is just getting to me.
I like that it seems like he's dropping the whole everyone's against me kind of thing, so I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah, I guess that's a step up, as opposed to just like random xenophobia for no reason in the year 2018 against India.
Right.
Yeah, man. So, okay.
Then we had those mixed match challenge promos with the words popping up. Ashley, what do you think of that? You're not a newer fan. You've been watching for like 4 or 5 years, but do you like that?
I didn't quite hear you. What was it?
You know, when they're doing the promos now, where they'll be talking, the words are popping up on the screen as they're talking.
Yes.
Does it not matter? Does it annoy you? Do you like it?
No, it annoys me.
Okay.
It annoys me. I don't care for it at all.
We need to get some 12-year-olds on this show one day and see what they think, because it seems like it's geared towards kids.
Because kids love to read.
Yeah, right. Right.
Not when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Not my daughters. Actually, they do. Actually, my daughters do. I should take that back.
I feel like I'm actually amazed that I watch the majority of my video on Facebook with no sound on and reading along with it. I just don't need that on TV when I'm actually, engaged. Okay, so we went from that.
But it's clear. One thing I wanted to mention with the Mixed Match Challenge, this was pretty much it, right? As far as them promoting it. So they've really toned it down.
There was maybe one or two more. I do think it was strategic that they kept Rusev off TV last night to try and boost viewers for the Mixed Match Challenge.
Yeah, but they didn't have a real Rusev promo though, right?
That's true.
And he's like, kind of been a fad lately. So
I mean, like a fad. I mean,
more.
It's sustained though. I mean, the Rusev Day chants seem to be getting louder each week and more so. I mean, this wasn't like Heath Slater where for SummerSlam and 2 weeks after people were chanting for Heath. I mean, Rusev, this seems to be real.
Well, let me ask you this though: will people be chanting for Rusev if the Rusev Day thing was gone? Like, are they chanting for Rusev Day or Rusev himself? You know what I mean? Are they chanting for this little cutesy gimmick, or the man himself, and they feel like they connect with that person as opposed to liking this gimmick?
Huh.
I think there's a difference.
You're right, there is, and I think it's the kick. I think they like this Rusev Day. Mm-hmm. You know what? My nephew, who's also, he is an encyclopedia. Like, WWE knows every single thing. And he likes Rusev, but this Rusev Day, he goes like over the moon. He loves it.
Yeah. That's and look, we've been talking on this podcast for years of how they should do more with Rusev. He's really hilarious in real life. So I'd like to see them do more and him get to that point, as opposed to just this catchphrase getting to that point.
But he's always been really good in the ring. I mean, when he had his last U.S. title run, I mean, he's been fantastic. I think it's the gimmick that gets people over and gives them a reason to invest in someone. I mean, look, WWE fans, I mean, Ashley, God, it's funny, you self-proclaimed Paul Heyman girl. People in the WWE universe love to have things they can chant and talk along with. And I think
but that doesn't mean that they care for the person. Like Ty Dillinger, people don't care about Ty, but they like chanting 10.
I think it blends. You don't think so?
No, because if you took that away, Ty would be just another guy. And he's talented in the ring, but he does not connect weird as a person.
Well, I know I'm weird, but when I go to events and things like that, I don't chant along with anything unless I really like the person. Like, I really get into it. And that's when I mark out. When it used to be, whether it's doing Heyman's thing. I mean, even people like chant along with AJ Styles, the house that AJ Styles builds. Like, you got to love AJ. You're not just doing that because you want crowd participation.
Right. And that's where they connect with AJ and not the chant. It's,
and
they're
I'm
going
the
with it.
Oh, really?
Yes. I cheer for and do everybody's gimmick, no matter if I like them or not, because I am connecting with their gimmick. So that's such a good point. There are two different things that people are connecting with, and I do agree with Ty Dillinger, because I think that's the same with me. I like screaming 10. I sit in my house and scream 10.
It's odd. The rumor is that Ty has been kept off TV, so people will stop chanting 10, because I guess Vince doesn't like the 10 chant. So
that's it.
I think he just doesn't want people chanting it during other things, when people are doing the kicks in the corner, and seems to be working. Like, for a little bit, people were, and it's kind of stopped. So it's just kind of a silly thing. But then they still play on that gimmick by having him number 10 on that list. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh,
Vince
man.
hates weird things sometimes.
So we're going to talk about the New Day versus Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable. That promo last night. Pancakes versus waffles, folks. SmackDown Live is getting to the bottom of things. But before that, I want to take a minute, give some love to the sponsor of this episode, and that's SeatGeek. Oh my God, use SeatGeek to get my WWE Sacramento live event tickets. Sat right on the ramp. It was fantastic. I was buying tickets for 2 parties trying to get us both on the ramp, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without the SeatGeek app.
And I mentioned the Bon Jovi concert. I ended up getting my tickets using SeatGeek.
That's awesome, man. Telling you, buying tickets to sports and concerts can be so complicated, confusing. Wrestling, oh my God, you don't know where the numbers are on the ramp. And I'm telling you, SeatGeek is the better way to buy. It's the smartest, easiest way to get tickets to every type of live event. Whether you're searching for a last-minute deal, planning a night out, or need to find the perfect gift, SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices, and it's fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like going to a WWE live event, seeing your favorite team, musician, sports entertainer in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way I've found to shop for tickets. I could be anywhere, and with just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. So Raj said he used it for Bon Jovi, used it for Lady Gaga, used it for the Broncos before. I've used it for WWE live events, used it for Hamilton tickets, and it is designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. See, they save you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare prices and find you amazing deals, and to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek actually grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. Plus, every purchase is fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. Make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket, from sports to concerts, wrestling, comedy, and the theater. And best of all, our listeners can get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter the promo code INC today. That's promo code INC for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had used my promo code already, but this couple that's going with us, I had them use SeatGeek to get their Bon Jovi tickets to come with us, and they were able to use the discount, so that was cool. And that's like awesome. 3 weeks, so I'm pretty pumped. Never seen Bon Jovi, so. Yeah,
man. they have more songs than you remember, you know?
And you know what I like? Actually, I don't know. I don't know if they have new stuff or not. But, you know, a lot of these older bands, when I go to see them, I want to hear their older stuff. And so, like, seeing, like, Def Leppard and stuff like that, it's cool because they don't have new stuff. So you just hear the classics. Whereas we saw Madonna a few years ago, and she came out with all this new stuff. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't as cool.
I agree. I love the old stuff.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? We were on a cruise 3 years ago, and we saw there was a Bon Jovi tribute band playing in one of the venues one night. And my wife and I went, and we were like, we're just going to go and watch a song, and then we're going to sort of make fun of it and leave. We stayed for the entire set. And we were like, we know all of these songs. Like, these guys are really good. And the guy, like, the singer even got the same Superman tattoo John Bon Jovi has. We were just like, we're into it, man. So we feel like we've seen Bon Jovi, but Raj, I think you're in for a treat actually seeing them. So last night, New Day comes out, does the New Day thing with big stacks of pancakes, pancake eating, interrupted by Gable and Benjamin saying, hey, man, you know, we're serious athletes. Is this really what it's all about? Is this really where your career is at this point? And then they toss and dig that waffles are better. But clearly this is setting up this as the feud now that we have the Bludgeon Brothers and the Usos. What did you think of the segment, Ashlee?
Well, first of all, I just want to let everyone know that I did order pancakes this morning. That's how good they looked. I can get into all of the entertainment, the fun, and the silliness of the New Day. I think they are so great. Everything they do, I mean, from the bootios to the pancakes to I wear the unicorn on my head at the live shows. You know, they with Biggie with the bib, like the match. I didn't think it was a good match, but I think the New Day like saves the day. You know, it's always hilarious. It's always funny. And it was great. They didn't need to be interrupted. When they were interrupted, it was like, really? But I do think, you know what? I do think that they need more direction. Like, they can't just keep doing this. They need a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, feuding over pancakes and waffles, you know, I agree with you, Ashley. I do find the New Day entertaining. They've been doing a lot of the same stuff for a while. I'd like to see, instead of Chad Gable saying he doesn't like pancakes, just say, you know, like, we're tired of your shtick or something. Make it seem more personal, more realistic, as opposed to they're really feuding over whether he's talking smack about pancakes.
Yeah, or at least debate something important like cake versus pie. You know?
Right. But I will say this, you know, New Day, they're obviously brilliant with a lot of the stuff they come up with. Pancakes, it's kind of weird because you can't really merchandise that, you know, unless they're selling pancakes at the merch stands, you know, whereas with Bootios, they actually sold a cereal, you know, a lot of their others, the unicorns and everything. But
I think it's the weakest of the things that they've done. I think ice cream was better. I think this is the weakest New Day thing. Seems to have gone on the longest with no forward momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did order pancakes this morning because of them.
Well, there you go.
But not WWE pancakes.
Yeah, the National Pancake Advisory.
They're not getting their percentage.
Hey, we don't know. You know, with Linda McMahon's role in the Small Business Administration, Big Pancake could be secretly funneling money to the WWE to sponsor these segments.
IHOP.
Yeah.
Behind it all.
Oh man, I get that this is the feud, and all these guys can go. These could actually be some really great matches. Keeping this going, I don't know. It just this is one that I would have kept off TV this week if I was picking this and the triple threat segment. Especially being back to back, I felt like this was where the show started to lag a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that they're doing other tag team feuds that aren't involved with the title picture. Whereas usually it's similar with the women, where it's only like the world champion. You know, it's only the tag team champions that are involved in a feud, and all the other tag teams are left off. So I do like that they did that.
Yeah. So we get to get that Ziggler promo backstage talking about he wants to be in the main event of WrestleMania. It's good. I just don't think it'll be happening. I mean,
a girl's dream, right?
Yeah. I mean, but who knows? Hey, look, Jinder Mahal last year proved that none of us have any clue where this is all headed. I mean, we think we do. We think we know where it's heading. But when Jinder becomes the champ,
rip the rug right from under you.
Yeah, they love a swerve more than anything. So who knows? Okay, so the Usos backstage promo, I really like the effect where they did the zoom out and then the Bludgeon Brothers, Rowan and Harper, smashing the camera. My question is, between the Usos and the Bludgeon Brothers, Ashley, who do you think is gonna win that? I mean, they've built the Bludgeon Brothers. It seems like they're trying to do, you know, Braun Strowman ×2 with the way they've built them. Do you think they're going to get a title run?
Yes. Oh, I love them. I first of all, I loved the Wyatt family. When I watch them, I'm scared. I like peek through, but yes, I think they're great. I would say Strowman ×2. That's a perfect way to put it. I think they're going to get a title run. I think this is their chance, and they need to run with it. And that was a great promo. Perfect how they did it.
Ashley, let me ask you this though. I do like Harper and Rowan. I think they're very talented. But do you like the outfits and the mallets?
I do. I think it fits them. I think, you know what? Do I actually like their outfits? Like, no. I think any of the outfits they've put on are just like, but I think it fits them. I really do. I think it adds to their whole character.
It works better at a live event. I'll say that. And the people I brought watched them wrestle the Fashion Police Saturday night in Sacramento. And the guy next to me said, he's like, oh, I get it. It's like the Backstreet Boys versus Slipknot. They were like, yes, this makes total sense. So it does translate better live. I think with the masks, with the clubs, with all of it. I think that it's much cooler there. I think on TV, it just needs to be lit better and more consistently. Bright lights do not make the Bludgeon Brothers look cool.
I think the mallets don't make them look cool, but that's me.
Yeah.
I think it's, but
I love it.
But yeah, I agree with Glenn. I thought it was a cool thing with them smashing the monitors because you've had a couple weeks of the Usos doing that promo, so it's kind of this similar promo, but this time you had the little twist where they had teased something with the Bludgeon Brothers. Today it was a lot more direct, and I don't know. I don't know if they do this match already at Fastlane because they're already building to it. WrestleMania is a long ways away. My guess is at WrestleMania, if they do a tag match, it'll probably be a multi-person tag match, but we'll see. Or multi-team tag match.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So the main event last night, Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler. I didn't know what to expect with this. I was pleasantly delighted by the way it turned out. Ashley, what did you think of the match?
It was my favorite match. You know, there was so much energy, especially at the end. First, Ziggler was kicking out, at the last minute. Zayn was kicking out at the last minute. I couldn't sit down. There was so much going on. I was really surprised. I liked it a lot. I thought this match showed why Ziggler is here, how much he wants to go to WrestleMania, and that he wanted, WWE is giving him this push to show, what he wants.
Yeah. Raj, what did you think of the match?
I agree. I thought it was really good. I just hope, again, with Dolph, they're so on and off with him. Like they push him, then they take it away, and then they have him, way down. He leaves, comes back. They've done him leaving and coming back so many times. And the promo he did earlier about, wanting to main event WrestleMania and all that, I thought he delivered it well, but he's done similar promos, in the past on Talking Smack and on SmackDown. So I hope they sustain with him. I hope they, don't push him far down the card. Like really try with him this time because he's obviously talented. He could go on the mic. He can go in the ring. I just think they've been doing it for so long where they've beaten him down. It's going to be it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get him back to where, he could be.
It's almost expected, for them to push him aside again.
Yeah, I think fans just expect it now. They have a hard time believing these pushes. Like you see him in the Fatal 5-Way, but everyone knows he's not going to win it, or that's what they assume. When he was put in that 3-Way for the U.S. title, everyone assumed he was put in to take the pin. He actually ended up winning it.
And then dropping the title.
Right. And
48 hours later.
Yeah, for no real apparent reason. But then why'd you even go in that match? But they never really explained that whole thing, but oh well. I don't know. We'll see. I think Dolph, I feel like he needs a change of scenery or something. I don't know if it's moving to Raw, being put in a tag team, but something that kind of gets rid of the years of what they've been doing with them.
Yeah, I thought this match last night was great. Sami,
it was awesome.
I mean, he really gave Sami a great showcase to shine. They both looked fantastic. And Dolph won. He's going to the Fatal 5-Way at Fastlane. So all in all, Ashley, what did you think of SmackDown last night, and how do you think it's been doing lately?
I think SmackDown last night was okay. I would, rate it maybe a B, B minus. I wasn't crazy about it, as we talked about. I think all in all, SmackDown is a B.
Yeah.
I have not been so wowed like I wanted to. I do not think really anybody's given such an incredible chance. The land of opportunity. I have not seen more. I need to start seeing more with the women.
Oh, well, they did announce next week a 6-woman tag match.
Yes. And then I think they can move up. But right now, we need to see more of what they promised us.
Yeah. I feel like they've been coasting since the Superstar shakeup last year by still using land of opportunity, talking about, how this fondness people have for SmackDown. But yeah, I miss the era of Talking Smack. I miss the era of the rise of the Miz, of AJ versus Dean, you know, of Alexa Bliss coming into her own, Becky being the champ, Naomi getting opportunities. I feel like since WrestleMania, SmackDown is really just kind of ground to this repetitive, you know, mediocrity each week.
Yeah, I agree. It hasn't been the same since they did the brand split last year. It definitely got hurt.
Well, the shakeup, not the brand split.
The shakeup, yeah. It hasn't been the same. It's been very repetitive. You know, it's been Owen, Sami, AJ, Shane, Daniel Bryan since last October. So I hope they mix it up. I think we're going to talk about this here in a little bit. The fact that it looks like they might be dropping the dual branded pay-per-views. I mean, the single branded pay-per-views. No, we'll see. I give the show a C in the sense that I didn't think it was bad. I was entertained. There was nothing I thought was awful or anything, but it just felt very average. It had a good match with Sami and Dolph, but other than that, there was nothing, you know, like I said, from the beginning, I knew what was going to happen, just kind of waiting for it. And the problem, again, with these, when they put these matches on last, you know when the finish is coming. You know that if there's 10 minutes left in the show, the match isn't ending. So, you know, it's like in the last 3 minutes. So anyway.
But I told you, I'm not still that fan that's like, I know there's 4 minutes left, but I still want that pin.
You know, somewhere out there was a 9-year-old
awesome.
kid, a 9-year-old kid that really believes in kayfabe, and he or she is having the realization, like, wait a second, if this show is live, isn't it a weird coincidence that the match always ends right before they have to go off the air?
Yeah, they're just at the edge of their seat, hoping it ends early to see what they do in case it does.
Man, it's okay. So then we had the mixed match challenge last night: Rusev and Lana versus Bayley and Elias. I was actually really surprised how they didn't give Bayley and Elias a little more time at the beginning. They had Bayley out in the ring with the guitar also, but then before they could really do anything, Rusev came out. Rusev and Lana clearly very over with the crowd. Lana picking up her first win in the WWE.
Yeah, on the main roster. She's had some wins in NXT, but yeah,
on the main roster.
It was fun. It's clear that they it's not going as well as they expected. They're not pushing it near as hard as they were in the beginning. Viewership was down a little bit from last week, the live viewership, but up from the Strowman and Alexa week. So yeah, it was like 72,000, I think, is what it peaked at live. So yeah, not numbers to be 72.4 thousand people watching live. So that's, you know, those aren't numbers that I'm sure they can be crazy about, but I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, it's good. Ashlee, have you been watching the Mixed Match Challenge?
I haven't really. Skim, you know, turn it on, turn it off. I've been reading about it. I read last night, and I have to tell you, I was surprised. I wasn't happy.
Really?
Not even. I guess I thought Bayley really deserved it. I wanted her to see. I'm not a Lana fan, and I just think there are more, I don't want to say more like talented, or I just think there's other superstars that should be winning. I don't know. I can't connect to her. I can't connect to her character. I can't connect to like her in person. I just can't. There's no connection.
Lana is an interesting character. I think that people that do like her, and I like her, but here's the reason why I like her, because it's clearly someone who is not from the, you know, an Eastern Soviet bloc country, doing the accent, like really doing it like she learned it by watching Rocky IV and picked up a Russian accent. And I think
she did live there for a long time.
Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah. But the way she does the character, like the way the lines are written, come out of like the 80s Cold War.
Well, she's supposed to be like the character from Rocky IV.
Yeah, and so I like that it's such an antiquated throwback done with sort of a wink and a nod. Like I appreciate it from that level. And I have to say, actually, though, I think when they brought her back and had her wrestle and they built her up, with these NXT house shows, she looked like $1 million when she came back. She looked like $1 million until she actually started to wrestle. And then it was clear that it was like, oh no, she is in way over her head. But even we talked about this a couple weeks ago, even those promos for Total Divas with her getting into it, like I've never watched Total Divas. That storyline makes me the most curious I've ever been to watch it, because if there's real life drama around that, I think that actually is far more interesting than anything they've portrayed with her on screen, on the main roster.
Yeah, I like Lana as a character. I don't necessarily like her in the ring, and
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was getting at. I don't like her in the ring. I think there's Bailey I love in the ring. I love her character, but she is so great. I really wanted her to win.
And she, I think if you're looking as like they didn't want Rusev beating Elias, right? Because they're really pushing Elias. I think if you're wanting to protect some of these women, and Bailey is, she's in the Elimination Chamber. I just feel like, even though I know the show doesn't really mean anything, it's just meant to be a cute show for Facebook, kind of as a test. But I just don't think when you have someone in a title match and someone that's not wrestling at all, you shouldn't be getting beat. But oh well.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So 205 Live last night, people have noticed it has changed, much more similar to the Cruiserweight Classic than it was in recent months.
Yeah, so Triple H took over. So Vince kind of handed the reins to Triple H. So that's why the show's been different the last few weeks. It's, we were saying the last couple of weeks how good it's been, but the crowd is so dead for this show. And I was just thinking, like last night's show, if you put that same show on in front of an NXT crowd, it would have been so hot. And, I think the crowd is going to kill this thing unless they do something about it. I don't know why they're not moving the taping to before the show. I can understand, on the West Coast, then it's on really early when people get there. But fine, the weeks it's on the West Coast, do it after. But the other weeks, do it before when the crowd's hotter, or do it at Full Sail and do it when you do the NXT tapings, add an extra day. And I think it would help a ton.
Yeah. Because
last night the action was really good. They did like the weigh-ins. They kind of brought that back where you have to weigh 205. So I thought that was cool. Buddy Murphy making his main roster debut. Now, didn't
they show the wrong graphic for next week? Because isn't Wesley Blake coming and they showed Murphy?
They showed that on WWE.com. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. They yeah.
Hey, it's like which one's Dash, which one's Dawson. I actually had to mentally do some flashcard exercises to distinguish them from one another.
And that's what I do. I do Dash as dashing because he has hair. That's how I remember it.
So, Ashlee, are you excited for Ronda Rousey coming to the WWE?
Yeah, I'm excited. I guess I still am trying to get over how they brought her out in the Royal Rumble. I wanted Asuka to have her moment. And it just feels to me that it was stepped on.
Yeah.
She will have her time to shine. But that was not the time.
And they haven't really followed up on it.
About it, I think, Monday night. So it just felt like high and dry.
Yeah, well, she's filming a movie, so I guess I don't know if it was a case where she couldn't show up on Monday night. But I agree with you, Ashlee. I think having her come after the Rumble, what they could have simply done is before the Women's Rumble, just coming out and saying, we have signed, come into WrestleMania, and then just have Ronda Rousey come out, come to the crowd, wave, and that's it. And then you start the Women's Rumble match. So you get Rousey out there, you still do the announcement, still a big deal. And then you do the Women's Rumble match. And so at the end, you have Asuka's moment, you have Charlotte and Alexa in the ring. It's, that's still the focus. So I think there's a way they could have done it without kind of just pushing the Rumble to the side.
I don't know if they just wanted her to size, have the audience see her size up Charlotte, size up Alexa Bliss and Asuka, and then go around and size up, but then shake hands with Stephanie McMahon then, but it just felt like it totally overshadowed Asuka, and it didn't feel right as a female, as a female fan, as the first Royal Rumble ever. You want to remember, wow, the winner, Asuka, that was that moment. And a lot of people are now remembering that Ronda Rousey coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was all they talked about after. That was all WWE talked about. They weren't sending out press releases about Asuka winning the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. It was all about Rousey. So, yeah, I agree with you. And especially she didn't need to come out there at the end, because now that it seems like, because it's one thing if she was going to challenge Charlotte or Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania,
yes.
Then it makes sense. But the fact that she's not likely to be involved with any of those women, that it's going to be her and someone against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, then they definitely did not need to do that at all. No.
But the effect we've seen is that Raw went from having maybe 2 women's segments most weeks. Now they're really investing in that. And what I would love to see, I know we've talked about this before. Justin LaBar says this is not the case currently. I would love to see the WWE bring on some female writers, especially to write for the women, if they're going to be doing more women's storylines, as opposed to giving it as the rookie assignment for brand new male writers on staff.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the case where there's no female writers, but it's definitely predominantly male.
Yeah, outside of Stephanie McMahon, of course.
Right. So, yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's just, I wonder if it's just hard because they bring on writers with writing experience. I wonder if it's just hard finding women who've written in Hollywood that want to write wrestling. I don't know.
They want to. Although you gotta imagine. I mean, I don't know. You have something like Glow on Netflix, which is, I think, something like 90% written by women. I'm sure there are enough women out there in Hollywood that want to write. I don't know that they want the travel schedule, the WWE.
Well, no, yeah, I don't think it's that. But I think it's just how women have been written for so far. And to be, if it's one thing, if you had really strong, compelling women's storylines, then I think maybe there'd be more of a demand for the, I don't know, for female writers to join. I just think with the way they've been written for, it's been so poor that, and again, you shouldn't get female writers just to write for women. You should write for everyone. But anyway, I think they definitely should add more for sure.
No, I think
because the way they do relationship storylines in wrestling are so antiquated and ridiculous that it's clear it's from guys that haven't dated much. I don't know.
That's true. So yeah, here's what was interesting. So Sacramento, Saturday night, a lot of people were grumbling. There was 1 women's match out of 10 at the WWE live event. Now I did look this up. They have been doing 2 on the SmackDown loops. They didn't this weekend. It was just a women's fatal 5-way. They've been doing a second match, I believe, with Naomi versus Natalya, and then having a Riot Squad versus Charlotte and Becky with someone else match. But yeah, it does seem like it's a little unbalanced. And going back to what we opened on, if they're really talking about equality and giving women the same opportunities as men, people online saying like, oh, like the Rumble isn't enough for you, the Elimination Chamber is enough for you. I think the WWE is great at doing these big historic moments and big events. It's just the week in and week out, the live events. If you're putting out this flashing beacon saying we take women seriously and we take women's wrestling seriously, I heard a lot of people, not just the people I was there with, but I heard a lot of people around us in Sacramento that were disappointed. They love the women and we're like, why did we get 1 match of this? But we saw, Mike Kanellis and Epico versus the New Day, or Ty versus Mojo, or a lot of these other matches that maybe aren't putting butts in seats. I mean, Raj, what do you think it is on the live event? Do you think that booking thinks that in the majority of territories that the women just aren't going to draw?
I don't know. I mean, they haven't been. I don't think they think anyone draws right now on the SmackDown side. It's more the brand, That's why they don't really announce cards and stuff anymore. They'll announce one match. So,
or they'll announce Cena.
They'll announce, exactly.
Or Brock.
Right. So,
Yeah. Ashlee, what do you think when you go to the live events? What do you expect to see most of the time? Are you just sort of happy with the experience, or do you have like firm expectations for the type of matches you want to see depending on which roster you're going to?
It's for me, it's more about the experience. I usually sit ringside.
Yeah.
Ringside. So close where I have a funny story for you. I sat, front row, and I can't remember who it was, but they fell over the barricade, and it just happened to be over me. And the security guard was coming over to see if I was okay, and I was like, "I'm fine. I love it." And they were just like laughing, like, "Okay." I love the whole thing. I look forward to all of the matches. I look forward to, I hope to get the wrestlers' attention. I hope to see, great matches. I love, with live shows, they get a little more personal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's everything. I love the crowd, which is really great. With floor seats and going to a lot of the live show, I see many of the same people.
Yeah.
For Raw 25, I was sitting with people I see all the time. And then Monday Night Raw was in, I think, Philly the next night after Raw 25, and I didn't go, but I saw on TV all the people I was sitting with was there, and it was just like so cool to see. So it's just everything.
Yeah, no, the experience is great, and I think that there's a certain energy there that's fantastic at the live events.
You know what? Asuka hasn't wrestled on a live event all year.
Really?
From what I've been seeing, yeah. I don't know if it's.
She wrestled at, I want to say, Nassau Coliseum. I guess it was 2007. Well, 17, or maybe it was Madison Square Garden. But someone was out, and I saw her for the first time, and she was so funny. She's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tag team. Not a tag team. It was I forget what it was. Nikki Bella was there too. It was such a good match, but I was really excited to see her.
And she did have a dark match after Raw on Monday.
Right. Yeah. She's been wrestling. Yeah. I mean, she's obviously been at TVs and stuff, but she hasn't been she hasn't wrestled on a live event in a while. I don't know if it's just a creative thing or because they obviously don't fly everyone out for the live events if they don't have something for them.
Yeah.
But I just thought that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. So Ronda Rousey will be signing her contract at Elimination Chamber. I thought it was interesting that they're advertising Elimination Chamber so heavily on the ads during SmackDown last night. I can't remember the last time I saw as many ads for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking if Rousey is really signing her contract there. I mean, she's not going to really sign her contract in public because could you imagine? She's like, wait a second, what's this clause? I need my attorney out here to.
Vince McMahon gets the rights to what?
Yeah. So Triple H did say on the conference call that they were still finalizing the deal. So I don't know exactly what that means. Clearly, they're not going to put her on TV and do this big angle if she's not definitely with them. So I don't know if he meant they're finalizing like what she's going to be doing, or the number of dates, things like that. But she's, obviously clearly in. She's going to be on Raw. SmackDown could use some star power, but they just keep loading Raw up, and that's what they'll be doing. Someone's asking, Peter's asking if she'll get booed. That's a good question. I think there's already some resentment, because of what Ashlee said earlier. A lot of resentment that Ronda kind of took away from the Women's Royal Rumble. So I would not be surprised to see her get booed. Her mentions have been getting a mixed reaction at best on TV.
Yeah. We shall see. So Ashlee, thanks so much for joining us today. What would you like to plug before we take it home here and wrap up?
So March 24th, I'm on the Lupus Research Alliance, the Young Leaders Board. March 24th, we're having a Soul Cycle event to raise money at Soul Cycle on 19th Street. You can follow my Twitter at Ashlee White 23. You'll see tweets about that. And also April 29th, the American Heart Association is having our Heart and Stroke Ball on Long Island at the Garden City Hotel. And you can also get more information on my social media. I'm also in the midst of creating a podcast. So
nice.
Look out for information on that too.
Very cool. Raj, what should people look for on the site?
Oh, I totally forgot to mention the rest of my interview with Eric Bischoff is going to be for people who subscribe to the audio version. It's going to be on right after this. He talks about Hulk Hogan, if he thinks Hulk Hogan will be back in WWE, the NWO, if they work with the Bullet Club, really insightful stuff on if he thinks like that would work, if he thinks what would be the pros and cons of it. And he's really forthcoming about what he thinks the cons would be. So check it out. And I can't remember if he answered this on last week with part 1 or if it's today, but he also answers if Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, if they had never signed with WCW in the 90s, how different does he think wrestling would be today? Because the NWO wouldn't have happened, and that, started this domino effect. So it's true. Interesting stuff. So check it out. For the audio, it's coming up next.
Sounds great, everyone. Well, I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can find me on Twitter at Glenn Rubenstein, and we will be back here Monday night. Monday night to talk about Monday Night Raw with Mr. Matt Morgan. So we'll see you back here then. Until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein. Take care.